Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our June 8th, 2021 BOCC meeting. This morning, Commissioner Hetherington is, I believe, out, but she will be on Zoom, and hopefully when she wants to chime in, we'll be able to coordinate all that and make that work, maybe. And, but she won't be voting, correct? She'll be commenting? Oh, okay. I thought you couldn't.
In for a penny, in for a pound.
She can't establish a quorum.
She's allowed to vote as participating via Zoom, but she's not part of the ability to establish a quorum. So the fact that you have four, you have a quorum, but she can comment and vote.
Well, Stacy, good morning. We can't see you, but good morning. Hope all is well. Anyway.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Crystal clear, actually.
Great.
Must be the altitude. Indeed. Anyway, this morning we'd like to start off our meeting with our invocation with Pastor Dave Albers from Redeemer Lutheran Church, and we'll follow that by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. You all please rise.
Lord, in Rotary, we have a four-way test that is to direct everything we think, say, and do as our club, but even as an individual or a business person. May it also be true here. This is the four-way test. Is it true? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I pray, Lord, that this would be the guiding four truths, as I call them, for this group and for our community, that we might always be a blessing to one another as we strive to be the best we can be. With your blessing, Lord. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pastor, thank you very much. Have a great day. Okay, this morning we have two additional items. Consent item number 10, Parks and Recreation Advisory Board appointment. Consent item 11, adoption proclamation declaring the Treasure Coast Waterway Cleanup Week in Martin County, Florida. We have no consent polls as of yet. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ed, would you like to chime in with your light?
No, it's too late. I was
it's too late.
following the rules. I know you're new, so I just wanted to make sure you...
That's great.
Old light now.
That's an old light now?
Yes, sir.
Taryn, did you have
The other
something
two.
you wanted to add? No, you sure?
Yeah,
Want to help me on the
I'm
rules?
familiar with how it
No,
works.
no, I think you got it covered.
Okay, we'll try anyway. I'll do my very best
Don't
today.
let them steamroll you just because you're new.
A little rusty on the edges here. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second for approval of the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public comment this morning, we have a few. First up will be Missy Campbell, followed by Mark Perry and Tom Pine.
Good morning.
Good morning.
First of all, I was going to say Happy World Ocean Day, but I'm sure you're going to get a little bit of that information. But I am Missy Campbell. I am the Executive Director of the Palm City Chamber of Commerce. And as a Martin County resident for way too many years, since 1974, I grew up in Jensen Beach, and then I moved to Stewart, then I moved to Palm City. I go to the beach in Hope Sound. I taught out in Indiantown, so I kind of feel like it's all together. You know, it's all Martin County. So right now at Palm City, our new slogan and our new brand is Keeping It PC. And so we want to really spread that out to everybody. So since even though you don't represent Palm City, like I just said, it's all about Martin County.
Well, we
I
actually
have
do,
some
Miss.
for you, some Keeping It PC shirts.
Wow.
That'll logo. They're sun shirts. It'll keep you safe while you're at the ocean, appreciating the ocean and
Hope
helping
Sound.
clean it up. And so I have these that I will leave for each one of you, little bag full of goodies. And we hope that you will all help us keep it PC. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Missy. Mark, good morning.
Morning, Commissioners. It is a good day. It's World Ocean Day, and just wanted to make some comment that, you as a county commission and Martin County here have been really doing a tremendous job to try to help not only recognize and make people and citizens in Martin County aware of the ocean, but also to help do everything you can to try to help protect and stop the pollution that's coming into our ocean. So I want to commend you and appreciate your efforts and everything that you do to help do that. And I want to ask you to continue to do that. And it's a challenge each and every day, not just World Ocean Day, but each and every day that we need to take awareness out to the community and out to the public. We're blessed here in Martin County because since I grew up here in 1957, it's been many years, but we've all seen a lot of changes to our ocean environment. But we're blessed here in Martin County because we have this great connection to the ocean. Through the St. Lucie Inlet, we have the St. Lucie Estuary, Indian River Lagoon, which are the nursery grounds for all of our ocean fish and shellfish and things that we really appreciate. And people are attracted here to this community because of that. And we all need to do our due diligence to keep those oceans clean and to keep our waterways clean, because it all happens right here along the coast. And I know that you're doing whatever you can to really commend you for doing that, to participate in committees, attend water district meetings, Corps of Engineer meetings, participate in all of that with your staff. I think it's a tremendous effort that Martin County's done, is standing out amongst people here in Florida. But as we look on the coast, and I encourage all of you to go to the coast today if you can, and just look at that ocean and just appreciate the fact that it provides a life to this planet. Over 70% of each breath that we take, all the oxygen that was produced in that top layer of photo layer of the oxygen that we breathe. So it's important not only for that reason, but because we've over polluted our atmosphere with carbon dioxide, and we got to do everything we can. So even on land, we need to do what we can to slow down that production of carbon dioxide that sequesters into the ocean, but it's too much for the ocean to handle each year, and it's now producing carbonic acid. And that acidity has risen 25% over the last couple of decades. And what that does is doesn't allow those shells to be produced, those calcium carbonate shells. And that's a really serious issue. So I commend you again for doing fertilizer ordinances, things like that. I think this is, a tremendous county. I'm so appreciative to live here and to have a governance by this county commission to help continue our awareness and our due diligence to help protect our ocean. Thank you.
Next up is Tom Pine. Following Mr. Pine will be Jeff Whitman.
Yeah. Welcome back, Tom.
Welcome, Tom.
Morning, Commissioners. My name is Tom Pine. I've lived in Martin County for over 45 years, presently live in the Jensen Beach area. At the last commission meeting, when the Jensen Beach Commissioner announced he was spending $200,000 of our tax dollars to make the firehouse on Hutchinson Island prettier, I felt like I was in a bad dream. This brings the total cost of Martin County's latest Taj Mahal to $4,550,000. That's before a single penny is spent on any equipment or essentials. He knows how to take care of those who work hard to keep him in office.
Sir, please keep your comments to the board as a general.
I'm speaking to the board, ma'am. I'm
Yep,
not
but
using
you're
any
singling
words. I'm
out,
speaking to the
excuse
board.
me, you're singling out one commissioner, which is against
The
our,
one that spent the money, ma'am.
this is against our rules and procedures. You can either follow the rules or,
He knows how to take care of the people who work hard for him. Unfortunately, the taxpayers take a beating again. This shows loud and clear commissioners from Jensen Beach has nothing but contempt for blue-collar workers' his ruthless spending habits. The $200 expenditure even called into question by the Martin County Taxpayers Association. Are these funds being spent wisely? Because of this type of arrogant spending, it is imperative that this board set up a review of how commissioners should be allowed to spend district funds in the future. The commission should also look whether these funds should be spent year after year or carried over for years. Once again, looking from the outside in, it appears the true money does grow on trees in Martin County, the way we spend it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pine. Have a good day. Jeff Whitman.
Morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Whitman, Hope Sound. The reason I'm here today is to ask you to reach out to the town of Jupiter Island and work with them to create an easement across the 18 acres. Oh yeah, first of all, thank you again for preserving the Ham property. To reach out to the town of Jupiter Island and work with them to create an easement across the 18 acres that they got from Mr. Ham to complete the Ocean to Lake Trail. It would come right out at the trailhead in Jonathan Dickinson. The town manager, Mr. Joe Connolly, was for it. I think Mr. Ham was for it also. It would be a great asset to Martin County and the Hope Sound Scrub Preserve, and would provide the missing link for, like I said, the Ocean to Lake Trail. That's that one, and they were amenable to do it a while back. I think they'd still want to do it. So that's something that I'd ask you to look into and have staff look at. I think it'd be a relatively easy thing to do. The other thing is, I have some letters I wanted to give you.
They are amenable to it. That conversation is still ongoing.
Oh, good.
The well fields just need to be protected for the
Absolutely, yeah, I understand. That's what, we had a grant. Chuck Barraclough and I took over 500 letters up to Tallahassee to get, and we got a grant, a $2.1 million grant from Florida Communities Trust, but we had to return the money because of the easement restrictions on the property with the well fields. But anyhow, I wanted to give you these letters from, it was a community effort. There's over 500 letters here from a lot of important people, congressmen, mayors, state senators, I'll name a few here. Mark Foley, Martin County Audubon Society, Haney Creek Greenway Group, CFAS, Audubon Society, DEP, Airborne Mountain Bike Club, the Nature Conservancy, Joe Negron, the most important politician at the time, the chairman of the state senate, Nathaniel Reed, John Payson. There's one that's my favorite. I don't know if I have time to read it. I'll try. Hello, my name is Rachel E. Acuna. I'm 12 years old and I live in Jupiter, Florida. For the past years, I've visited my grandparents. I've passed through the Hope Sound Preserve area. It's a wonderful place to hike and have fun. I would hate to see it go. I don't think it's fair for people to build more houses when we already have too many. I say leave the land how it is. These, just put them in the record. They're all yours. Thank you very much for all your help.
Whitman, have a good day. Okay, that's the last public speaker forum I have. Anybody else wish to address us at this time? Seeing none. Stacy, can you still hear us? Stacy?
I can hear you.
Okay, do you have anything you wish to add this morning for commissioner comments?
Commissioner comments? I would just like to announce June 19th, the city of East Stewart, we will be having the Juneteenth celebration from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Guy Davis basketball court. It's going to be a nice day of family fun, food, and music. The basketball court ribbon cutting will kick it off at 12 p.m. and the celebration will run all day from 1 to 5 p.m. and I hope everyone can join us.
Fantastic. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jenkins.
I'd just like to announce that I'm using $728 of my district funds to reserve the Hope Sound Civic Center with Parks for the Hope Sound Nature Center to have their summer camps there because they still can't use their own facility.
Welcome back, by the way. All in one piece.
All in one piece.
Commissioner Campy.
I'm fine.
Commissioner Hurd.
Yeah, we are entering the last stages of the review of the Lake Okeechobee management schedule. We're going to be receiving a final decision within the next month or two. And so the Corps has narrowed down their possibilities to 5 iterations, and their their goal is to balance benefit and harm. And since we receive no benefit, we also should receive no harm. So there should be no discharges to the St. Lucie estuary ever. Unfortunately, the 5 remaining iterations all discharge polluted water into the estuary. Some of them are more harmful than others. So the dilemma is, while we want to acknowledge that we firmly believe that they have no right to discharge any water into the estuary, we also want to make sure that one of the most achingly awful iterations isn't chosen. So should we send an acknowledgement that one of them is less harmful to the estuaries than the other ones? That would be alternative CC. And this is difficult. Simply, I just need to understand whether or not we agree that it is important to acknowledge that one iteration has less harmful impacts on the estuaries than the others. Just because I don't want any of the other iterations to be selected. I don't want it to say that I support CC, but it's not nearly as awful as the others.
Sarah?
And I understand Commissioner Hurd's consideration, but would it be all right, I would ask please that we do some research.
Absolutely.
And make sure we're not compromising our current position, and we'll bring it back to the next meeting.
Terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good idea. Thank you. I appreciate
That's
that. Commissioner Hart, thank you. How fitting if it is that we have FOS here and Mark, Oceans Day and all that this evening down in Miami, Mark, just in case you didn't know. Force Blue, sorry, is doing their unveiling of their coral reef project that they did during the Super Bowl last year. They're doing they did 100 yards by 100 yards, I believe, restoration off of Miami. And they're doing the unveiling of the documentary this evening to celebrate their successes. We've come a long way with the Coral Reef program, and we have much further to go yet. We still have to get through Congress the reauthorization of the Coral Reef Act, which we got that close to last year. But from what I hear up there, and unfortunately it's from what we hear, we don't get to see them, and I don't know how long that's going to be. But we hear that things are moving very positively, and hopefully we'll see something happen this year. So all good things hopefully are happening. Don't know if you saw the segment on Channel 5 last week, some of the coral reef nursery restoration that's going on. Some fantastic work's going on. The state has really ponied up a ton of money that it's going hopefully in the right direction, and hopefully we're getting a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more understanding as to what is going on and how can we rectify it. But the success so far seems really positive in terms of the growing of new corals and hopefully the saving of various species. So we'll let you know how tonight turns out, but it should be a really good night down there in Miami. So two other things just want to bring up, Commissioners. I've been talking to our park staff and certainly to Taryn about this. I assume you've all had a conversation with various departments about our troubles hiring people and getting people to work because conditions out there are such that maybe people aren't coming back to work as much as we'd like them to. I've talked to Kevin Abate about they used to have, or I guess he's familiar with what they call P20. It's a Parks 20 or a part-time 20.
I don't know. It would have been nice if you would have talked to me about it.
I did.
No, not you.
Huh?
Not you, the department.
Oh, well, did I talk to
ahead.
you?
Huh?
Did I talk to you?
You did. You mentioned it to
Okay.
me, but I've not had a chance to follow up with him.
Okay, fine. So I
Kind of in the throes of our budget. That's the only reason why it's.
okay, well, I didn't expect that actually response, but if I don't get to talk to the others unless we're here, so If we want to discuss it, and if we don't, I'm bringing it up because we have a facility that's now been finished for over a month and we can't staff it. And so I think we need to do something. I'm not sure what that something is, but if you could carve out some time
Sure.
to get with staff, and maybe bring something back to us as commission, that would be helpful.
You do have on your agenda today the conversion from a contracted position for the lead at those two facilities, not just Seaside, but Sand Dune. And they're hoping that by having that person as a full-time position, that will help us possibly secure more employment opportunities. But I'd like to get HR involved in the discussion so that we can understand exactly what the impacts we're looking at.
And this is why we're having the conversation.
Yeah, sure.
Apologize for catching you off guard this morning, but at the same time, again, we don't get to talk about it, and if we don't get feedback from the commission, I think we have to do something much more aggressive than what we're doing. We're competing with an industry that every single restaurant I've been in for the last 6 months can't hire anybody, hasn't been able to hire people. We have restaurants that are closing down days of the week because they can't staff full-time, and that's the audience that we're competing with. We also clearly and rightfully so don't allow for tipping, so we are at a disadvantage right off the bat. We are probably at the level at which we're paying part-time, we're probably under the level at which we could even compete with.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm asking to have the conversation today. If the board's interested, if they're not, they can tell you that, and we don't have to waste any time on it.
Actually, Commissioner Smith, it's good that you brought it up because we were just having this conversation on Monday with the team to talk about layering in the $15 an hour that's been passed and comes upon us, and we've set up an executive session for your first meeting in July for Teamsters negotiations, and I think we can bring that whole conversation possibly at that time if you would be willing to wait that long.
Yeah, it's just, I'd love to see us do something sooner. We're, again, we have a brand-new facility, and people are in and around it and asking when it's open, and we can't do anything because we don't have any staff. So
Yeah. No, I understand.
sooner the better. Commissioner Hurd?
Yeah, let's not waste this opportunity. So we have this beautiful new facility called the Seaside Cafe at the Stewart Beach, and it's ready to be opened, and we need staff. So we if you're 14 or older, we would love to have you apply to work at this wonderful facility. It's beautiful. It's going to be such a fun place to work. So I encourage any eligible teenagers to please apply to work at this great facility.
And to that point, Commissioner, we have had some success. We did put it out. Yeah, well, we got two. To tell you how bad it is, honestly, out there, I have a friend of ours or an acquaintance of ours that runs a large facility in Martin County. He's actually walked up and down his neighborhood asking kids that are in the neighborhood if they want a summer job because they just can't get anybody to work. And that's one of our larger places in town that's very much involved in the tourism industry. So whatever we can do would be most helpful.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Campy.
I work during the week, but I am a certified food handler. I have worked in
Great.
snack bars.
You're hired.
I'll volunteer. I'll come out on Saturdays and Sundays just to get you started.
That
I
would,
got Joe Flanagan. We got two.
that's great.
We got our Zoom lady.
She's shaking her head no.
No, this is her last week, so she can probably we can transfer her over from
Missy was
Zoom.
here earlier. I'm sure she'd be
Missy
willing.
Campbell. She's about to become a grandmother this week. God bless
So
her.
bring the kid out and get some.
Yeah. And remember, it's not just teenagers. I mean, there's plenty of people that are older that are looking to work. It's a beautiful place. It's a nice opportunity. This is, Commissioner Smith's right, it's happening everywhere. Businesses in Palm City are shortening their hours. They're not having evening hours. They're not open on weekends. I think obviously the problem is larger until the federal government stops, double paying for unemployment. Some people, if you're making $600 a week, it's easier to stay home than to work. So I think the governor is on the right track for at least the state of Florida eliminating that overpaying of unemployment benefits because, it's become a big issue. I've seen signs like you have that restaurants are completely closed because you can't legitimately run a service industry understaffed. It's dangerous, it's complicated, it ends up hurting the business more than actually just being closed. So I agree with what you're saying. I'm sure this is just a snack bar issue, but it's probably countywide, and so until we sort of like pump up the opportunities, it's terrible to see a brand new facility ready to open, and the only reason it's not open is staffing.
Commissioner Jenkins, thank you.
I just did a trip through 6 states, and I can tell you that we have it good compared to some others. It was Robbinsville, North Carolina. There was 13 of us traveling together. There's one restaurant in that whole town that was open. Either the others have been out of business because they were shut down, and or there's absolutely no labor there for no matter what level of pay. I was talking to the manager, and I was kind of overhearing a conversation, and it's a sad state of affairs. But it's not just us. It's
No, I mean, in perspective, we are in much better shape than most others. I agree. We have got to figure it out here, what we can do here locally. So, the other issue, I hate to bring this up and probably get some kind of reaction, but I'm going to. Where are we on bringing back the Tiki Hut stuff?
It's on the agenda currently for our next meeting. I saw it.
Great, thank you. Enough of that. With that, I think that's all I have today. So, first item on the agenda will be Department Number 1, Office of Management and Budget, items which require approval. Ms. Manning, good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Jennifer Manning, OMB Director. I have a few items on the agenda, 5, 6 to be exact. And first item is an item from the Human Resources Division. They're requesting permission to apply for a community-based tobacco prevention program funding in the amount of $168,392. It requires a 7% match, and that would be in-kind salaries of $11,831. The second item is permission to accept the Home Investment Partnership Program grant funding in the amount of $125,000. It requires no match. This is a sub-grant through St. Lucie County, and they're going to use the funding to fund 4 out of 11 projects that they currently have. Third item is permission to accept the E911 GIS support upgrade, and this is in the amount of $29,700. And it is part of the 911 NG 911 technology upgrade program, and it'll help with the mapping. The fourth item is permission to accept a donation from Historical Society, where a resident donated $25,000 to Historical Society for express purpose of adding irrigation along the section of roadway of the previously restored vegetation on MacArthur Boulevard. The fifth item is quite a few items, and it's adjustments that are necessary to align the revenues and expenditures to reflect activities, as well as corrections, budget transfers and budgeted transfer and budget transfers from reserves. So the first item is budget resolution requests to allocate anticipated additional revenues for the Seaside Cafe. We just talked about that. And not Seaside, I know it was in Sand. For Sand Dune Cafe, in $136,000, they're anticipated that much more over their budget. Second item is to approve a resolution to allocate additional fundings received from the state aid of library. They originally received $67,033, and they'll get an additional $9,310. Item C is a budget resolution to allocate a contribution from Sailfish POA, which is for the Bathtub Beach restoration in the amount of $500,524. Item D is a resolution to approve the allocation of the MPO funds for fiscal year '21 in the amount of $65,978. Item E, we were requested to separate our light vehicle replacement from our vehicle maintenance program, so we created a separate fund, and we're requesting permission for a resolution to allocate those revenues and expenditures. Item F is a budget transfer for the disaster recovery reserve for potential disaster-related expenses. And during the fiscal year, when we do the fund balance in February, all the funds are placed in reserves, and we're just requesting to remove those funds to an expenditure line item to make it easier for expenditures in the event we have hurricane. Item number 6, as Ms. Kriza mentioned, that we are requesting 2 full-time positions be a conversion of contractual positions, cook position, there are 2 of them, and we're requesting full-time equivalent positions for Sand Dune Cafe and Seaside Cafe. And as the discussion went on this morning about the need to hire people and not having sufficient funding. So that concludes my items.
So a couple things, Jen, and thank you. I don't want to speed by them too quickly. If you can go back to the first one, the 25,000 that was mentioned, I believe that's from
From the Historical Society.
right. I believe that's from a family that helped donate or donated the palm trees that are out on MacArthur Boulevard, and I believe that they are funding the irrigation to run to that area. Is that correct?
Jim Gordon, Public Works Director. Richard Hawker is the one that donated that money. He's been working with the other family, the Kibbeys, who donated the landscaping on the island.
And it is for that section along
It is
MacArthur.
for the section that washed out back in 2004. It was put back, the road was put back, but we had just bare sand there for years. And the Kibbeys last year donated vegetation that was installed, but it's fatigued because it's out on the island and it really needs water. So they lined up someone to donate the money to do the irrigation.
Just want to make sure we say thank you to all of that, because it's not often that people step forward and do that, which is super, super nice of them, and just want to tell them how much we appreciate all their efforts. The second one I think that should be mentioned, or certainly should catch some attention, is Sand Dune Cafe.
Additional revenues.
The additional revenue. Just want to thank all of our staff, even though we're short, for what we've really kind of turned around, or they've turned around out there from years ago, where it was really a deplorable situation to a really great destination, and one that's doing a fantastic job, obviously. And also a little call out to our staff relative to Mother's Day. I think it was a full all hands on deck out there. And how many Mother's Day brunches did we do? Do you know? Like a couple hundred?
Comes to the record, Todd. Happy birthday.
Todd Faust, Martin County Parks and Aquatics Administrator. We had 2 seatings out at Sand Dune on Mother's Day. We had over 400 people that we served. It's a great event.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and very well attended, sold out.
That's great. That's awesome. Congratulations to your staff. I know everybody puts all hands on out there. The place was immaculate, cleaned up. Everything was pressure washed and cleaned and ready to go. It was really super, super nice, and great job on the revenue.
Thank you.
Fantastic. And the last one, just draw a little attention to, was the 500,000 from Sailfish Point, or from the POA, rather. It's a great partnership that we have, that we started, 4 or 5 years ago with them on funding beach renourishment out there together jointly. You want to come up and just, Kathy, either one?
Come take a bow. Happy birthday.
I guess it's everybody's birthday today.
Don Donaldson, Deputy County Administrator. Yes, we have an agreement that's going on over, I think it's close to 7 years or so, on with Sailfish Point, where we cost share in the construction of the beaches. They were doing their own projects in the past, and then we were doing ours, and we've combined them. And this is probably, I believe, the best project we've done thus far. It really came out nicely. We were able to accomplish removing material out of the backside of the channel and out of our impoundment basin, and it's I think it's really the best job. Kathy Fitzpatrick, our coastal engineer, and her staff did an awesome job managing that project.
She's so shy today. But thank you very much for all that, and thank you, Sailfish Point, for your contribution, your participation, and our residents really do all value it very, very much. Commissioner Campy.
Ms. Manning, you were a little District 1 heavy today. I'd like you to spread it out amongst the other districts. Just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Well, that was because we started off the morning with PC.
Yeah.
So we had to balance out a little bit of that, and
Keeping it PC.
we're keeping it PC. Anyway, Jennifer, thank you for that. We need a motion if there's one to be had.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? Anybody from the public wish to comment on this? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All is opposed, motion carries
Aye.
unanimously. Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate it.
Time to land.
Next item on the agenda is Department 3, update on the St. Lucie inlet management and improvements needed for the South Jetty. Ms. Fitzpatrick, we do get to see you this morning. Is it your birthday also today?
No, I don't need any extras, thank you very much.
You don't need any extra birthdays?
There's nothing wrong with a birthday
Well, no,
compared to the opposite.
You're just going to stay 50 forever, right? Perfect.
so for the record, with that lead-in, this is Kathy Fitzpatrick. I'm a coastal engineer from Martin County. And it's been nice to hear all the discussions about the things that are going on around the beach out there. So I'm glad the whole county is benefiting from that. So today,
Yeah.
I'm here to do an
Just a little bit. Sorry. Got to cut a little cutout in the table so you can.
How's this?
Better.
Okay. So today I'm here to do or provide an update on the St. Lucie Inlet, and I'm going to be focusing on three main aspects of it: maintenance, the South Jetty, and the inlet management plan. So as you know, but just for completeness, there are four main elements to the maintenance of the St. Lucie Inlet. There's the North Jetty, the South Jetty, and then the St. Lucie Inlet, which is comprised of the impoundment basin and the navigation channel. The North and South Jetty protect navigation and stabilize the shoreline, while the impoundment basin captures the sand entering the inlet and keeps the navigation channel free from shoaling. We need to remember that the St. Lucie Inlet is a federal navigation project, and the county acts as the local sponsor. When everything is going according to plan, the impoundment basin will capture the sand entering the inlet and keep the navigation channel free of shoaling if it is cleaned out or dredged every about 3 years. The capacity of the impoundment basin is around 450,000 cubic yards, and there's usually some additional volume of sand that's removed when we do maintenance dredging from the navigation channel as well. The current inlet management plan, which I'm going to speak a little bit more about towards the end of this presentation, states that each year the existence of the inlet causes erosion on the order of 161,000 cubic yards of sand from beaches to the south and 34,000 cubic yards of sand from beaches to the north. And the county is required to mitigate these impacts through the inlet management plan, and the sand captured in this inlet is really vital to us being able to do that. So this shows a fairly predictable filling pattern that we've seen in the inlet over time. The blue line that runs across horizontally across the bottom represents the filling of the navigation channel. The red line above it represents the filling of the impoundment basin, and then the black line represents the sum of the two. Also shown on this image is a horizontal dashed red line, and that represents that 450,000 cubic yard capacity I mentioned in the impoundment basin. And then those vertical light blue stripes show the timing of each one of our maintenance events. That's why you see it filling, and then all of a sudden it goes down. We've done a maintenance event. And you can see that it's around year 3 that the impoundment basin reaches its capacity. And we can see the deposition in the navigation channel increases, and that's when you see that little blue line on the bottom start to pop up. And you can really see that in the first two segments when we were delayed a little bit in doing our maintenance dredging project. And you can see when the lines, the red and the blue, black lines start to hit that maximum for the impoundment basin, you see the navigation channel line, the blue at the bottom, starting to pop up. And that shows that shoaling has begun in the inlet. In the more recent times, we've been able to maintain the inlet regularly. So you can see in the following sequences, you don't see that blue line trending upward. And that indicates that the shoaling in the inlet has been minimal. So that's good. In the most recent sequence.
Can I
beginning
interrupt
in
for a
20
second? Go on this.
Yes.
So from 2002 to 2012, the dredge frequency was every 5 years, and now it's every 2 to 3 years. Dredging is really, really, really expensive. Is it because we are allowing it to shoal less?
Yes, when in both 2006 and I guess it'd be about 2011, we were in danger of the inlet being closed to navigation, because that's where that blue line at the bottom becomes important. You can see it moving up to that 100,000 cubic yard mark, and that's what we don't want to see for a lot of reasons. It is a bad impact on navigation, and then it also means that we're probably losing some of that sand that we want to have available to us when we're doing our projects. So what you see in those following sequences, we're doing them more frequently because we need to. And you can see that that red line just either starts to approach or just gets above that 450,000 cubic yard maximum, and it keeps that blue line at the bottom fairly stable, which means that we don't have shoaling in the inlet. And that's what we're really focused on as far as navigation goes, is keeping that blue line as horizontal as we possibly can, because we don't want to see that shoaling start. And then, of course, just from an efficient maintenance, we want to maintain it on a regular basis as well. But yeah, those first two, I mean, I came in like 98, and the first two sequences there were really eye-opening to see how quickly in that last year things really went south. I mean, it was bad, and then it was really bad, and it happened quickly. And as you know, it takes time to get plans, specs, contracts, and people to respond. So when you see, we know what's going to happen. You can see it's the same trend pretty much every year. So, we know what happens. If we wait that next year, it's not going to be a gentle slope. It's going to start filling in the channel, the one place where we don't want to see it.
Okay, thanks.
So, to that point, is the frequency of dredging that we've done in the last now 4 dredges, right, for the basin? Is it more cost effective to do it that way than to dredge the entire inlet if we were to shoal in like we did in the prior 2, like back in 2007 to 12 and then 2002 to 2006?
Well, I guess with cost effective, you'd have to look at the whole picture. And if you just for a minute forget about the dredging, you've got the impact to the economy we all remember what happened when the inlet was closing. And so from that standpoint, that's certainly not something we want to see. And from cost effective, I mean, you might get your unit price down a little bit, but at what other costs? Right. Our inlet is dangerous.
As it is.
I mean, that's the other thing is it's dangerous, and when it gets like that, people still go in and out. And it's just not something that makes me sleep well at night when it's a condition like that.
Thanks.
But the one last thing I wanted to point out here is that in this last sequence starting in 2018, we have seen a more rapid filling of the inlet. Could well have to do with the storms offshore. It could be a number of things, but it did fill a little bit faster than we expected. And so when it fills faster, what that leads to is imminent shoaling conditions that developed in the impoundment basin earlier than expected. And so on this image, the warmer colors are the shallower water, and the red is actually emergent dry sand beach that you can walk on. And you can see the sand build up. I don't know if you can see it, but right here it's just starting to go into the navigation channel in these yellow colors here.
And so the channel, just for people who are not familiar, that's the channel. Those 2 solid lines are the channel. The dotted hash line is the center line.
That's correct. The dotted hash line is the center line, and then the two solid lines on either side are the limits of the federal navigation channel. So this was not where we had expected to be, but luckily we had a renourishment project scheduled for Bathtub Beach, and we were able to remove sand from the impoundment basin for this project, and that created more capacity and gives us an insurance policy of sorts that should get us to the next potential federal navigation maintenance project in early calendar year 22. So what does the inlet look like now after the most recent project? Here you can see that a lot of the area that was previously red, which represented the emergent shoreline, the dry sand beach, has turned green, and that represents a depth of about 15 feet. As the chart on the lower right shows, the Bathtub Beach project as a whole used 180,000 cubic yards of sand and removed 67,000 from the impoundment basin proper, and then another 36,000 of some of that early shoaling we saw spilling into the navigation channel in an effort to make sure that the navigation channel is clean. And given the relatively slow filling rates that are typical of a summer, this should be sufficient to capacity to get us to the next year. However, all those caveats, of course, are around any major storms we should have over the summer. But right now we're in good shape.
So Kathy, I'm sorry, can
Sure.
you go back?
Yeah.
So that area that's orangey yellow that's in the basin to the closer to the mouth of the inlet,
Mm-hmm.
was that a timing issue that we didn't have enough time to get all that out as well?
No, what it is, let's get back. Going the wrong way. See my whole presentation. What I'm going to try to show you, there we go. So here you can see this is the typical pattern, and what when it shoals, it tries to come across, and you can see the
Right.
offshore breakwater is this dark
Yep.
kind of line right here. So it tries to come across to that area, but the really active area is right back in here. So the most important part, if this area is cleaned out, it can't feed this area out here. So by getting all of this, we've created that early capacity area that's really important for the jetty to function the way that it needs.
I was just curious why they couldn't have grabbed the other, if you go to the one that shows you're after the work's done, that pod right there.
Well, I mean, then it just came down to volume. You know, we prioritized the areas to give us the volume that we needed, and we had a couple areas. We got some of the sand from the excuse me, from the channel that goes around Sailfish Point, and then as you can see, the balance of it came from the next thing we wanted to do was clean out the navigation channel to make sure that was clean, and then the balance of all the material we needed came from the impoundment basin. And just looking at it as a priority, that was the area we really wanted.
Yep, got it, thanks.
So our proposed project for this coming year will place sand just south of the South Jetty in the state park. And it was actually the state park manager who requested that this happen, and that was due to the excessive erosion in that section of the park's beach. As you may remember, our past projects have started sand placement much further south down the beach. And this new configuration will make it a comparatively quick project and less expensive than our previous ones. That's good. So where do we sit now regarding our opportunity to have federal funding in place for this project early next year? It's an uphill battle, no doubt. In the current fiscal year 21 work plan, although we were a priority and we had good support from Jacksonville District, and I truly believe that we had good support from Atlanta as well, we got $0 in the Corps' current work plan. And since no funding was authorized, it's impossible for the Corps to move more than a couple $100,000 into our account. And while that's not chump change, it certainly isn't something that would have us going out and contracting to dredge. So looking to the next fiscal year, which starts in October, the President's fiscal FY22 budget, which was made public just a couple weeks ago at the end of May, did not contain any funding for our project. However, this year Congress has reinstated a process that we used to know as earmarks, where it allows the congressman to request funding for a limited number of their local projects. These requests then go to the Appropriations Committee for consideration, and I'm happy to report that on Friday, Congressman Mass did include the St. Lucie Inlet in his list of local projects that will be considered. Staff is drafting a letter to the Appropriations Committee explaining the importance of this project, and this is kind of a work in progress, so this may be something you want to add to your motion, directing us to write the letter or sign it or whatever. But we will be tracking that process. The appropriations, we should have a good idea if it not being finalized by the end of June, and certainly report back to you on that. But I do want you to know that as a last resort, staff is taking the initial steps that are necessary in case we need to go it alone. We always know it's a possibility, and we're always prepared to do that. And we do have the staff capacity, and we can pull sufficient funds together if we absolutely have to. But right now, it's a stay tuned, work in progress kind of thing. And I put this slide in here just to remind you that we don't just do this for people. As you can see, the state park numbers, especially for green and leatherback sea turtles, have rapidly trended downward over the last few years, much faster than in other areas. And it's very possible that a big contributor to this has been the lack of good quality nesting beach near the inlet. And this project will restore that beach with very high quality nesting beach material. So now on to a new but much needed project, and that is the repair of the South Jetty. The South Jetty kind of gets forgotten from time to time because it's hard to get to and we don't see it. But we've been out looking at it. The jetty should perform a few functions. Most importantly, it stabilizes the south shoreline, protects navigation from waves coming from the south, and it slows the return of sand from the south into the inlet. As with the navigation channel, this is an element of the federal navigation project. And as it was originally constructed by the Corps in '82, the jetty had the dimensions shown on this slide. It had an elevation of +8 feet relative to mean low water. It had steep side slopes, and it used large armor stone. It doesn't look like that anymore. Our consultants from Aptum performed an extensive survey work using laser surveys and drone photography to assess and map the problem areas. Key observations showed a large breach is present on the seaward end inside of that red circle. 85% of the jetty crest is below the design elevation, and 60% of the remaining armor stone is undersized for our wave climate. And the asphalt maintenance road that sat atop the jetty has either deteriorated or disappeared altogether, and the side slopes have flattened out. This is another way to look at it. This is a laser survey, and the hot colors show the higher elevations with the maximum, maxing out at that original +8 elevation. And the cooler blue tones show the lower elevations with the aqua color that you see a fair amount of, representing an elevation of just +1 foot. It clearly shows the structural elevation change and the armor stone is spreading. So what does that mean? Well, the cause of these changes are uncertain, but are most likely due to structural settlement and storm forces. And simply put, it just confirms that, along the lines of the birthday discussion, the structure is aging. It has been damaged, and it's... Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Pulling that in. I'm waiting for the lighthouse discussion.
Don't eat the meatloaf. And it is in need of repair. And I put these images in here just so you can get a good visual of what some of these conditions look like. That top middle one is that washout of the jetty that's seaward of the beach that I showed you there where it had really flattened out. And you can see in the bottom left, the sides are starting to crumble away. And the bottom center, there's areas where the water just washes right underneath the jetty. So it's in need of some love. So we have been working with our core project management team in Jacksonville District to develop some options and some recommended actions. And the cost of the county's recommended action is just under $5 million. And what it does is restore the structure, and it also accounts for probable sea level rise in the next 50 years. And the project is eligible for 100% federal funding. And this was also one of Congressman Mast's funding requests.
before you go on to the next one?
Yes.
What's the timeline for that?
Timeline for,
For approval or submittal and work to happen?
well, I mean, it's all funding dependent. We're trying, we've got, with the jetty, we have two ways we're looking at it. Getting into the budget with this request would be great, but if we can get some money into the work plan, this is not something that is immediately urgent like the inlet will be. The inlet has to be done this coming year. The jetty could come along in the next year or two, so we're also working the work plan side of things too, and really go from there. We've got a great project manager at the Corps. Shelley Trulak is really good at finding ways to work with us and keep things moving. So we've been able to do a lot of the work with them looking over our shoulder and making sure that it's something that will work for them as well. So we're trying to keep things moving forward and gain the visibility. It may be too much of a stretch to get both of those requests funded this year, and certainly we want to focus on the inlet. But if we can get in the work plan and keep things moving, then if we could get this work done in the next year or two, I'll be happy to watch it.
Super.
So on to the inlet management plan. You probably remember these discussions from a few years ago. And so unlike the last two segments, this is a state discussion here. And as I think you know, the state requires that counties mitigate the erosive impacts of their inlets, and the erosive inlets are looked at both to the north and the south. Our first inlet management plan was adopted back in 1995, one of the first in the state, and our first update came along in 2016. And right now we are preparing reports to initiate the 5-year update. We're doing that this year. So now that we had that discussion about how we're maintaining the inlet on a regular basis, and that keeps the impoundment basin from overflowing. So what that does now is it's allowing some long-term patterns to establish themselves. Before it was just rapid changes from totally full to totally empty, and you couldn't really get a trend. But now we think we're going to be able to see something new. And we've done some extensive data collection over the last 9 months to provide a really good updated understanding of what patterns have developed. This new data is now being reviewed and analyzed by our consultants to produce an update to the 2016 plan. And I expect to have a draft report from our consultants at Atkins and Applied Coastal this summer, probably about the end of July. Once we, staff, have reviewed and gotten the report to what we feel is a final version, we'll certainly share it with the board, our partners, and the State Department of Environmental Protection. And what this will do will give us an updated and refined calculation of the inlet impact, but then we send it to the state. This is a state plan, so we send them our best work, and then the discussions start. And so this action should kick off the 5-year update process, which presumably will conclude in the state issuing an updated sediment budget. We'll have more clarity on that process once the state receives the report, and I will certainly keep the board updated on how that progresses. That concludes my presentation, and if you have any remaining questions, I'm happy to chat.
Nice job, Kathy. Thank you. Anybody have any general questions or any specific questions? Okay.
Thank you very much. I know you're passionate about this, and I think the reason we're in the great shape that we're in year after year is because of your leadership and your team. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Congressman Mast. When you were saying that there was no official funding coming out of Washington, I thought that your whole presentation would get the wheels would fall off. But for the new concept of earmarks, I was here when Congressman Rooney was our area congressman, and they had stopped the earmarks, and that's what we had always relied on to help with those dredging projects, to the point where I guess as a county we almost started to take it for granted. And then when it went away, it was one of those perfect examples of when it's gone, then you realize how valuable it was. So I can imagine that Congressman Mast has tremendous requests from all the different municipalities in his district. And for him to put both of the most important ones for us in regards to this on his list the first year out of the box that they were allowed to do it again, I appreciate it.
And I do want to mention that we had a lot of support from stakeholder groups that wrote letters and called them as well, and so I'd also like to thank them for their support.
So a couple of thoughts. Kathy, you mentioned during the presentation letters of support. I think what would be helpful on two maybe levels. One is that we send do you want a combined letter for both the dredging funding and the South Jet, or you want to separate them into two separate requests because they're two separate projects?
You know, that's up for grabs, but as you know, the Corps has different colors of money. You know, some is O&M.
So you want two different
some
letters?
is construction. And if we were to get money for the jetty and not the inlet, it's not like you can take the jetty money and put it in the inlet. So I think we need to think about whether we just want to write the letter about the inlet or really clear that the jetty's nice, but the inlet is. We're working on it. I haven't gotten to that.
Okay, so let's do this. In our motion, if one is made, let's do two things. Why don't we ask you, staff, to prepare a letter for Stacy, the chair, to sign when she returns. Whether it's two letters, one letter, you guys work that out amongst yourselves to figure out what the best course is. The other thing is, I think on our federal legislative agenda, we should add both of them to the agenda, just so that it's clear that we're working all ends of this thing. Because sometimes letters are good, but sometimes our physical action is even better.
So moved. Oh, we got a question. We got someone on Zoom.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Commissioner Heatherington? Stacy?
Yes, I was just trying to get unmuted.
It's that little button on the right-hand side. Go ahead, Stacy.
No, I'm all set now.
Okay, are you in agreement with that sort of strategy?
Yes, the staff's going to determine whether sending two letters or one, but whatever they decide, I think we do need to send the letters.
Okay, and are you also agreeable to adding it to our federal legislative agenda?
Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Kathy, anything additional you want from us on this?
No, I think we're good. We have a lionfish roundup coming up in a weekend after next. I want everybody to participate in.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, and we have an additional on lionfish. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Heatherington. We appreciate it. Kathy, thank you. Please keep us updated as to where we are, and if there is something we need to do legislatively, let us know.
Do you have any free time to work at a snack bar nearby?
Maybe in a year and a half.
I hear the pay is really good,
Beautiful view. Great work environment.
unlike the inlet or the, any of those other projects. The artificial reef. Hey, Kathy, by the way, yesterday I guess we've all been out to tour the landfill, or maybe people are about to be out there. I see we have a fairly good stockpile of concrete out there for the next reef. Is that something we're going to see coming soon, or?
Yes, it is. Right now, we're waiting for the contractor to finish his current project, and then we are next out of the gate. And that Jessica has got everything all lined up out there.
I can't hear Kathy.
We're working on it.
Sorry about that. I'm too short. Yes, as soon as the contractor who's doing the current project is done, we're next on the list, and that will be going out. Jessica's got everything lined up, and we've got a lot of good stuff coming.
And has anybody been working with FEC on all the railroad ties that they're replacing? And
yes, yeah, we constantly work with them, but getting them to a place where we can use them is something that has become harder and harder.
Okay.
When I first got here, we used them all the time, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to happen. We've got a great relationship with FPL and the light poles. We get all of theirs. And a lot of the contractors have, again, Jessica's done a great job of really publicizing this, and she's got contractors calling us with with good quality contract or concrete debris and people from other counties that are coming here with their stuff. So it's pretty successful.
Great stuff. Thank you very
Bet.
much. Appreciate it. Okay, next item on the agenda is item Department QJ1, request for a variance to allow the issuance of permitting, a building permit on a legal lot of record that does not front an open road but has access via an easement. Mr. Walker, good morning.
Mr. McCarthy is out in the lobby, it looks like, with some very important clients.
This is fantastic. Motion to approve.
Yeah, really.
Oh, don't sit in the back.
You know, all the way up in the front.
Wow, the cuteness factor just went up like 1,000%.
Terry, Mr. McCarthy, you're a genius, just to let you know. I don't know if they're paid actors and actresses or whatever, but it's working. It's working very well.
Mr. McCarthy, good morning. Welcome. This is a quasi-judicial. Do any commissioners have ex parte communications? Commissioner Jenkins?
If I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
If any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Campy?
If I have any, they've been filed.
Commissioner Hurd?
I don't have any, and that's been filed.
I don't believe I have any, but if there are, they've been filed. Do we have any return receipts, or are they done earlier?
We don't have return receipts. We did receive an affidavit attesting to notification, and we did receive a letter of support from the recipient.
Okay. And we're all good with that? That covers us on that one. Are there any interveners? I don't see any. Do we need to swear in witnesses? Is there anybody that's going to testify? You need to be sworn in, especially the little ones.
Yeah. They got to at least come forward so we can see my camera.
There
Please
you
raise
go.
your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Walker.
Morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Tom Walker, County Surveyor, for the record. I do have a copy of the agenda item summary, my work history, an affidavit attesting to the notification, and a letter of support from Mr. Scott Watson that I'd like to submit for the record. Yes, and thank you. And today we have a request by Island Party Rentals of South Florida Incorporated for the board to grant a variance.
I think he's ready.
Wants to intervene.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do that.
Grant a variance to allow the issuance of a building permit on a legal lot of record that does not front an open road pursuant to section 4.843 K1C in the land development regulations. The subject parcel, which is outlined in red on the map currently displayed, is located in Palm City Farms and has access to the open road southwest Woodham Street, and that was established by a recorded easement. The parcel is described in Exhibit A as the east one half of Tract 13, Section 34, Township 38 South, Range 40 East, Palm City Farms, according to the plat thereof. The only existing structure on the subject parcel is an open pole barn that did not require a building permit. According to Section 4.843 K1C, the Board of County Commissioners may grant a variance that allows a building permit on a lot not fronting an open road, provided that the board determines the following. 1, it is a legal lot of record. 2, the lot has legal access to an open road that is A, reasonable and practical, B, in general conformity to the style and character of the neighborhood, and C, established by recorded easement no more than a quarter mile or 1,320 feet long, and 3, the variance does not create an undue burden on the county's provision of public safety or public services. Staff's analysis of the required determinations is as follows. One, the subject lot is a legal lot of record originally split in April of 2000 in accordance with Section 4.1911C1 Land Development Regulations. The parent Tract 13 was established pursuant to the plat of Palm City Farms recorded in 1916. Two, the lot has reasonable and practical access to an open road in conformity with the character of the surrounding neighborhood that does not exceed a quarter mile or 1,320 feet in length. Access to the lot is established by an easement recorded in or Book 2892, page 1553, Public Records of Martin County. And three, the continued use of the existing driveway by the applicant would not place an undue burden on the county's provision of public safety or services. The Board of County Commissioners has asked to be advised as to whether a parcel associated with the variance request is within the Urban Service District boundary, and if the parcel is located within Palmar or the Palm Beach Heights subdivisions. The subject parcel is not within the primary Urban Service District, nor is it near Palmar or the Palm Beach Heights subdivisions. So staff's recommendations is as follows. One, move that the board receive and file the file item summary and all of its attachments for the record as Exhibit 1. And two, move that the board adopt the resolution to grant a variance that allows the issuance of building permits on the property described in Exhibit A, subject to a demonstration of compliance with all other applicable criteria. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Walker, thank you very much. Commissioner Campy, questions for staff?
No questions for staff.
You want to wait till the end?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. McCarthy. Good morning.
Terry McCarthy representing the applicant. Unfortunately, Mom had to take my co-counsel out of the meeting. We agree with staff report, obviously. The seller and the buyer are here. The property is being sold. Mr. Israel, the buyer, is here today with family. His work carries him out of town for extended periods of time. So this is a perfect spot for him to build his house, have his family, etc. And I think it's important for Al to come up and just tell you how happy he is to be here.
Sure. Sir? It may be a good idea or a bad idea, but you could bring the whole family up if you want. No, that's fine.
Dress them up, you got it.
Pleasure to meet you all. My name's Al. I just wanted to let you know that we discovered Martin County and fell.
Speak into the mic a little more for the people at home.
My family and I discovered Martin County and fell in love with it immediately. It's exactly what we want. You know, family values, beautiful neighborhoods. Everything is here. Everything we want is here. Great schools. So this is a big opportunity for us to build a dream home and live here and retire very happily. So thank you.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for bringing the family.
Yeah, bring them up so we can see them.
Thanks so much. So, this is Blake, the cowboy.
Okay.
And this is Austin.
Hi.
And Clint.
And the one outside?
My wife Dana's outside with Mac.
All right.
And so
Fantastic.
Mac is how old?
Mac is 2.
And how old is Austin?
I'm 11.
10.
9.
And 6.
Wow.
They have to move away from the podium so people at home can see them. Over here,
No, right there.
Yeah, right there is perfect.
Ed's going to conduct the rest of the meeting now. There you go. Perfect. Well, Mr. McCarthy, I think honestly, in all the years I've been doing this is a first. Nice job. Anyway, you all look fantastic. Thanks for coming in. Great
It's
job.
nice that they see how the process works and how this happened for you. And who are you buying the property from? What was the name of that company again?
Jade back there is.
From Island Party Rental.
Yes, current owner.
Fantastic.
Great.
Motion to
Fantastic.
accept staff's recommendation.
Second.
Mr. McCarthy, did you have anything else you wanted to offer? Mr. McCarthy, did you want to offer anything else, or was that's it?
Thank you.
Okay. So we have a motion, we have a second. Anything further for staff? Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? Good luck if you do. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great job, Stacy. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming in. Have a great day and enjoy your new place. Jade, thanks. Yeah, nice. Nice. Bye. Do it again. Okay. I think that for all intents and purposes bring us to the end of the meeting, to the end of the agenda. Ms. Krista, do you have anything else for us today?
No, sir.
Ms. Woods? Oops, I guess she does.
No, I was just going to follow up. Mr. Gorton reminded me that we already have an item on your next agenda for the LOSUM discussion, and so that's on there, so they'll add to it to elaborate where Commissioner Hurd went on the conversation.
Terrific.
That's great. Anybody else have anything? Commissioners, any last comments? Then we need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second to adjourn. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner Heatherington, thank you for joining us. We'll see you when you get back. Safe travels. We're adjourned.